She thought I was lost in dreams, but my eyes were wide open, recording every treacherous move. You're about to witness the moment my assistant made the biggest mistake of her life, believing she could steal my entire business right under my nose. Get ready to see how I turned a shocking betrayal into the ultimate counterattack. Every morning used to start the same way. Quick check of emails, a strong coffee, and a brief meeting with my assistant, Sarah. She was sharp, efficient, and over the past 2 years, had become someone I considered not just an employee, but a confidant. She had access to everything: my calendar, my contacts, my business plans. I trusted her implicitly. That was my first mistake. It started subtly. Strange question about server passwords that seemed a little too specific. A meeting she forgot to add to my calendar, which I only found out about by chance. Little things easily dismissed as human error. But my gut told me something was off. It's a feeling I've learned to never ignore. So I started paying closer attention, not as a boss, but as an observer watching a play unfold. The unease grew from a whisper to a roar, and I knew I had to be prepared for the worst, even if I hoped for the best. The idea came to me after a particularly long week. I knew our biggest project, the one we'd been working on for a year, was nearing its final proposal stage. The complete blueprint, our Project Nightingale, was stored on a specific drive. I told everyone I was feeling burnt out and would be taking a half day, planning to rest in my office's small, quiet room. I made a show of being exhausted, yawned through our morning brief, and by noon, I was asleep on the couch. But I wasn't sleeping. A tiny pinhole camera, discreetly placed on the bookshelf opposite the couch, was wide awake. My smartwatch, set to theater mode to dim the screen, was silently recording audio. I lay there, feigning deep slumber, controlling my breathing to be slow and rhythmic. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Every nerve in my body was screaming. Hearing her footsteps approach, the soft click of the office door, my heart hammered against my ribs. I had to remain perfectly still as she moved around the room, her shadow falling over me. I could feel her presence, hear her quiet, deliberate movements as she went straight for my desk. The air was thick with the chilling intimacy of betrayal. The camera I set up was my silent witness, captured everything with crystal clarity. The footage showed Sarah carefully booting up my main computer. She had my password. She'd watched me type it in countless times. Then, she pulled out a USB drive from her pocket. The video recorded the exact time she plugged it in. The screen's reflection was visible in a small mirror I'd positioned on the desk, showing her navigating directly to the Project Nightingale folder. Drag, drop. The progress bar filling up. My life's work being siphoned away in a matter of minutes. My smartwatch recorded the audio evidence, the soft tapping of the keyboard, the distinct chime of the USB being connected and then ejected. But the most damning evidence was digital. I had previously installed tracking software on the master files themselves. Every time that file was opened, copied, or transferred, it would send a silent, crypted notification to a secure server, complete with the IP address, device ID, and a timestamp. So I didn't just have video of her taking the files. I had a digital trail proving exactly what she took and where it went. In any legal dispute, intent is everything. Her actions weren't a mistake. They were calculated, deliberate, and I had indisputable proof of every single step. For the next 2 days, I went to work and acted as if nothing happened. It was an Oscar-worthy performance. I was friendly, professional, delegating tasks to her as usual. She, in turn, was the perfect assistant, attentive and helpful, all while holding the key to my company's destruction. The power dynamic had shifted, but only I knew it. She thought she had the upper hand, that she was days away from launching my own ideas under a new name. But I was the one holding all the cards, just waiting for the right moment to play my hand. The plan for the confrontation wasn't about yelling or drama. It was about a quiet, undeniable checkmate. I scheduled a Project Nightingale final review meeting with our company's board members and our legal counsel. I invited Sarah to attend, to take minutes, as she always did. She walked into the boardroom looking confident, perhaps even a little smug. She had no idea she was walking into her own tribunal. I started the meeting. Before we review the final plans, I said, my voice calm, I want to address a serious security breach. The room went silent. I looked directly at Sarah. On Wednesday, at 2:15 p.m., our entire Project Nightingale file was illegally copied. Her face went pale. I then turned to the large screen at the front of the room and pressed a button on the remote. The video began to play. The footage from the pinhole camera. The room watched in silence as her on-screen self entered my office, accessed my computer, and copied the files. Then I displayed the digital forensics report, the timestamps, the IP logs, the data trail leading directly to a newly registered company's server, a company she had founded just 1 week prior. There was nowhere for her to run, nowhere to hide. The evidence was absolute. Our legal counsel then took the floor, calmly outlining the charges: corporate espionage, theft of intellectual property, breach of contract. The consequences were severe, not just immediate termination, but a lawsuit that would reclaim all damages and ensure she could never work in this industry again. Justice wasn't just about punishment. It was about making it clear that such betrayals have unavoidable and serious repercussions. The aftermath was complicated. Seeing the look of utter shock and defeat on her face wasn't a moment of triumph for me. It was just deeply, profoundly sad. Betrayal from someone you trust leaves a scar. For a while, it was hard to trust anyone. I questioned my own judgment. But healing isn't about forgetting, it's about learning. We immediately overhauled our security protocols, implemented stricter access controls, made data security training mandatory for everyone. If you run a business, or even if you're just protective of your personal projects, let my story be a lesson. Trust, but verify. Put safeguards in place not because you expect the worst, but so you're protected if it happens. Use two-factor authentication, compartmentalize access to sensitive information, and most importantly, listen to your intuition. It's often your best line of defense. In the end, this experience, as painful as it was, made the company stronger. It forced us to become more resilient, more secure. We didn't let one person's deceit tear down what we had all worked so hard to build. We rallied together, pushed forward, and Project Nightingale launched more successfully than we could have ever imagined. It stands as a testament not to the betrayal we endured, but to the integrity and resilience that allowed us to overcome it. Thanks for watching. If you found this story valuable, please give it a like and subscribe for more content. See you next time.